Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Romance Happy Hour. I am here tonight with Dawn, my co hostess with the mostest. You like that, Dawn? I just made that up just right this very second.
You're amazing. You're so
right? I know, right? I'm here with C.A. Szarek. And am I saying your last name correctly?
It's Szarek, but yes, you did.
I'm so sorry. Okay, I've been saying it wrong all week. And
no one ever says it right.
Just, like we haven't ever actually met you before. And so when you have a new name and you're just looking at it via email, I was like, Dawn and I were both like, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. So Szarek.
That's okay. Everyone says it wrong my whole life. I'm used to it. It is my real name. You can't mess that up. Make that up. I mean, you can mess it up. You can't make it up.
And you said we get to call you Chrissy.
Yes, my first name is Chrissy. I just use my initials because when I started out, I wrote fantasy and, stigma.
So we're super excited to have you here with us. And
I'm super excited to be here.
Good. Oh, my husband is opening the front door. So now we'll see. We were just talking before we went live about how our dogs were laying at our feet and were being so well behaved. And now mine is getting his bark all ready to go. So we'll see what happens. So we are here tonight to, we're going to listen to Chrissy read. I'm going to do some reading. Everybody voted. So I think I'm going to be reading from Mud Ties and Family Ties. And then, we've got some giveaways and stuff to do. So before we get started with all that, Dawn, what are you working on? We revealed your cover, your second book in the series, and the third,
in the third.
You revealed on.
Two. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You got something to say.
Go ahead, really. You go ahead.
Now we revealed the second and the third in this series.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. The second and the third, because we did the first one before.
Yep. So the second one is going to be out. I probably should have checked this before the show. I think June 21st.
When is your first one coming out? Because that's super soon.
Yes, the 30th. Next week.
This month.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. So very excited about that one. And then the second one is June 30th. And then I still have to schedule the pre-order for the third one. And I have to write it. So that's what I'm working on.
Pre-orders is the theme of the week. Do not mess up the pre-order.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Crazy business.
It will make your life a little crazy for a couple days.
Yeah.
That we just recently learned that from experience or anything.
Am I saying cry?
Does anyone know if it was a full moon or something this week? Because I feel like it's been like super crazy.
There was a full moon last week.
There was a full moon. Yep.
It's crazy. It's been a crazy week.
Yep. It has been a crazy week. So you are working on book 3? You're still writing book 3?
I'm writing on starting book 3 and I'm editing book 2 and then editing. Well, I have to admit, I have not edited the book for Jessica, our agent, Dylann and I's agent. She's waiting for that one too. So I need to get that one done too. School's kept me so busy though. Like,
oh my gosh.
Even.
And
there's never enough time.
No.
That's what's got me freaked out. School's almost out.
I know.
I've had to work on things is all going to be going by the wayside here in the next week and a half.
Yeah.
Okay, what are you working on? Tell us a little bit about what you write.
I'm working. I write romantic suspense, epic fantasy romance, and Scottish Highlander time travels. So I'm actually working on romantic suspense. For me, it's a new series. It's going to be 4 books that are set in Vegas, and the first one is called King of Hearts, and it's like a female U.S. Marshal. I've been wanting to write a female U.S. Marshal for like 100 years, and a Vegas police detective, and there's a secret baby in it. So those are like my favorite. But it's got some organized crime in it. The family has a casino, and basically the patriarch gets accused of some stuff that he didn't do, and the couple has a history with each other. So it's exciting, and I have like 68,000 words, and I'm hoping to finish it in like 85.
Wow.
but I haven't really been able to write lately. Life has been crazy town. But I have a 5-book romantic suspense series out right now, and 3 of them are in audio. The 4th one will be live soon. That's what I'm going to read from today. Visual aid.
Yeah.
But that I'm not done with that series. There will be 3 more books. So it's like I have all these plans and all these things in my head. I'm also kind of working on the next Highlander book that I'm writing. It's the second in a spin-off series, but I generally do work on more than one project at a time, and then usually one of them will take over until I finish it. But I have a writer's retreat in June, and I'm super excited about it because generally when I go on a writer's retreat, I can do like 10 or 15,000 words, and I'm hoping to.
Wow.
I doubt that I'll finish the romantic suspense, but I'd like to get a big leap because between now and then, I don't know how much writing I will be doing because life is so crazy. I'm also an editor, so I always have editing clients. They keep me busy. So most of the books that I read are not published yet, which is the only bummer. If I get a chance to do book for pleasure, I usually listen to audiobooks.
Okay.
So like I can do that when I'm like folding towels, doing laundry, stuff like that in the car. So even if I can only catch a chapter, I'll read it on my way. I'll listen to it on my way to work. So yeah, I'm a very busy girl. So I just got back from vacation. I went to my in-laws in Pennsylvania. So I actually got quite a bit of work done, but I don't, it's very rare for me to like sit down and relax and chill. I need a beach somewhere.
Yeah. I just told my husband, I said, I think I need to go on my own vacation to a hotel. Like we live like a block from a hotel on base here, right?
Okay.
Super, super cheap. So I'm like, I think I'm going to go and get myself a room for the weekend, and nobody's allowed to come in there except for me. And I'm going to have my own vacation, and I'm going to write the words.
I have a friend who does that every month.
Really?
Yes. Every month she goes to a as cheap of a hotel as she can get Friday night through Saturday. I don't know if she does 1 night or 2 nights, or she just writes. And it really helps her like get stuff done because no kids, no husband, no dogs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sometimes I think you got to do what you got to do,
Yeah.
I'm lucky because my full-time job, I work at a shelter for teenagers. And as long as my kids are asleep, I can write and edit as long as life isn't crazy and I don't have other things to do. Because there are, I do have stuff to do there. I hate when I have to work at work. But, that in that I'm lucky. But life doesn't always go the way I plan it, unfortunately.
That is the truth. No kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding.
I always make these grand plans. Okay, I'm going to get this done and this done and this done and this done. And then I like to have there's no greater feeling than slicing something off a to-do list. And then I go, oh God, I didn't get to it. I didn't get to this. I didn't get to that. It's frustrating.
I like to that I've already done just so I can cross them off. I'm that kind of person.
Right. Oh no, I do that too. Totally. If I forgot to write something down and I'm like, oh my God, I did that. Yep. I write it down to cut it off because it makes me feel like I accomplished something, even if it was a tiny little thing.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people must do that, and surely we're not the only ones. So
we're not weird. What do you mean?
Not at all. So did you bring a beverage to Romance Happy Hour, Chrissy?
I brought 2.
Oh.
I brought nothing alcoholic. Don't get excited.
That's all right.
Coffee, and this is my favorite 20-ounce dragon mug. I love dragons.
Oh, nice. I love it.
And then I also brought some iced tea. In my Renaissance Fest, my nerd is showing in my Renaissance Fest class. It's just iced tea.
Is that Renaissance Festival that they have down in like Fort Worth area?
There's 2 that we go to. There's one going on right now, and unfortunately, I'm not going to get there this year. It's called Scarborough.
That's where we went growing up. So hey, everybody, it's my night to stay. Like I used to live where Chrissy lives because I know Dawn claim that, but tonight is my night.
Yeah. So I'm not
far from you at all.
And then down in Houston, where Dawn used to live, or near Houston in Plantersville, Texas, this is the Texas Renaissance Fest. That one is in the fall, and we usually go to that one too. I'm a huge Renaissance fan. I have like 7 costumes.
Oh, cool.
And then there's another one that I've not been to yet, but it's in the Austin area, and it's called Sherwood Forest. And I'd really like to see that one. They can't seem to pin down the date. They started in February, then they went in April. I don't know when it's going to be in 2019, but I'd like to check it out. But I love to dress up. So my husband is always in normal clothes, and he always he's from in the future. And so, but yeah, seriously, I have some pretty elaborate costumes. There's pictures on Facebook.
Okay, I was just gonna say, I was gonna ask where the pictures at.
Yeah, I have pictures on Facebook, but
all right, I'm gonna have to go. I'm writing that down right now.
Yeah, but I love, my mom makes most of my costumes, except that you guys know the historical author Victoria Vane.
Mm-hmm.
She made me a costume that I'm going to HRR, Historical Romance Retreat, in September in California, and she made me a Regency dress, but I'm bringing 7 costumes and I have no idea how to get them there. I counted and I was like, wow, this is a little nuts, Chrissy. This is a little nuts.
Maybe kind of narrow it down a little.
No.
One for each day.
No, because the
ticket for your suit
one all day, and then at nighttime there's events. So I'm going to wear a specific one for the events. So no, I'm going to bring them all. I don't know. You get 2 suitcases on Southwest. I'll make it work.
Yep. Figure it out.
Yeah. It's fun.
So before we get into the reading, I'll just kind of fill you guys in on what I've been up to. I have been launching Mud Pies and Family Ties, and it was supposed to go out tomorrow, but surprise, we have an early delivery. So it is live right now. I was going to let you know. It's up on Amazon. It's in KU. So if you enjoyed Sweet Tea and Second Chances, feel free to take a look at that one. And based on the vote, that's what I'm going to be reading from tonight. So
I love that title, by the way. That's an awesome title.
Yeah. Actually, I was looking at all your titles. I think it was either today or last night, and I was like, "She is so creative." Title-wise, so I'm like,
heard from a couple people that they just are making them hungry. So, Sweet Tea and Second Chances is the first one, and then Mud Pies and Family Ties is the one that's out just now, and then Lemon Tarts and Stolen Hearts is the prequel to this series, and that is coming out in the Sweetest Obsessions box set that will be releasing on August 20th. So if you want to get your hands on that one, for those of you that have read Sweet Tea and Second Chances, that is the story of Jake and Misty, because when Sweet Tea opens up, Jake and Misty are already loaded with...
Oh, wait.
Yes, no, they're wedded with wee babes, and so yeah, too bad we can't edit that out, Dawn. All right, spoiler.
Spoiler.
No, it's all right.
Oh, Linda, you're so sweet.
So Lemon Tarts and Stolen Hearts, the only way that you'll be able to get that one is to order the Sweetest Obsessions box set, which is actually today went live on Amazon. So it's only 99 cents, and there's like 20 plus stories. And then if you pre-order, you get extras. And so yeah, go check that out. And then eventually after the box set is over and stuff, I'll have that available on its own. But yeah, if you're going to get it, you may as well get all the extra bonuses too. So
yeah, for real.
That's what I've got going on. And then of course, Cowboy Charming, which I have here. I know some people are waiting on this one. That releases July 30th. So it still feels like it's forever away, but I know it's going to be here before we know it. So yeah, that's what I've got going on. Oh, and another thing that is launching in Radish. So I don't know if any of you read Betting on the Bad Boy. That was my first serial in Radish. And that one is still out there now, but that's going to have a second season that's going to start in July. So yeah, I know what you mean. Like busy. It feels very busy, but it's all good stuff.
Well, and now you just reminded me that I need to update my Radish books to like release.
I'm not on Radish. I should probably get in there.
Yeah.
I have enjoyed my time on Radish. I think it's been great. I don't know how many people, I don't know if any of our viewers tonight, I don't know if you want to kind of just weigh in on the comments. Have you read on Radish or not? Have you tried it? It seems to me like there, at least, I don't know. I don't think there's a ton of crossover between people that are picking up like a regular ebook and that are reading serials on Radish, but I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong because, like I said, I've only had one project up there so far. So
It's
yeah.
interesting. And I know there's a lot of authors that are on Wattpad and they do, or Wattpad. I'm not on there either. And I know there's different opinions on discoverability on there and stuff, but it's something I haven't branched out into just yet. And I'm looking at all the comments. Thank you guys. I'm loving the comments. Yes, Kate, I will pack all the dresses.
I gotta say, talking about Wattpad, Hard to Love, actually, I started writing it on Wattpad for a Harlequin contest. Yeah. And it's why I released it to the Coast Guard, because I had a bunch of Coast Guard wives who had read the first draft, like super rough, like barely edited draft, and loved it and wanted me to, get it released. So I did it. But and then it's really cool. Years out on the market with the agent to finally get back to me. But
there's always that. Writing is hurry up and wait, isn't it?
Yeah, for real.
It is.
Yeah, and I didn't get my glass tonight. I'm sorry, Dylan.
You know what? I was gonna ask, are you drinking the sangria that you made?
That sangria would kill me. It's got like, okay, so my mom, she helped me out with this recipe, right? And she's like, you do a whole shot of, I don't know, one of them was a whole shot, and then the other one was a half shot. And I'm like making it, and I'm like, no freaking way. It's why I want to taste a whole shot of this in here. So I half the shot in half. And it was pretty good, but man, I don't know. I mean, wine kicks my butt all the time.
I'm not a huge wine drinker, but I do like Moscato. Yeah. So whenever I go on a writer's retreat, me and my friend, one of my friends is like a wine connoisseur. So she always brings tons of wine and stuff. So they totally make fun of me. But I'm not a big drinker, but I have to work tonight. So I definitely can't have any alcohol right now. So it's a bummer. Normally I don't work Thursday night. So I picked up an overtime shift because my boss guilted me. So...
Are we freezing up? Linda said no. Tanya said we're freezing up. Somebody said, I don't know.
Karen. It's Karen.
Just got here.
Yeah, let us know, so we'll figure it out. If not, then Karen's gotta pop out and come back in.
Okay. Well, up on my screen, mine looks black, so I don't know if that means that I'm not showing up. But we'll keep going because that's what we do here. We forge ahead no matter what.
Forge ahead. That's what writing is all about, right?
Yeah, you're telling me. Holy crap.
So I think what we'll do is go ahead and Chrissy, if you're ready.
Sure.
We'll have you read. And then Linda just said I sound like I'm talking from a toilet.
Okay.
Linda, I love you. Oh my gosh, I love you. You're a little muffled at times.
Well, I don't know why. I don't know what I've done this time. Last time I did that and was muffled, it was because I had my computer on a pillow, but I didn't even do that this time. As you can see, I'm in my office and I still have baby back.
Still
half inflated baby back floating up above.
I see that.
So we'll keep going. So we'll have Chrissy read and then maybe we'll pop out, and then when we come back in, maybe things will be better. So
okay.
So do you want to set everything up, Chrissy, and then we will pop out, and we'll come back when you're done reading. And if you come up with questions while Chrissy is reading, just put them in the comments, and we'll circle back and answer them then.
Okay. And when you guys want me to shut up, just tell me, because I don't know. Do you want me to do? The chapters are kind of short, so I'll just start with chapter 1, and then tell me if that's too long. But I do want to give a little bit of introduction. So this is the book I'm reading from. It's called Collision Force. It is the first in a 5. Oh, I'm all big and stuff. The first in a 5-book series it will be 8 books, but right now there are 5 out. 3 of them are live in audio, and my narrators do a heck of a much better job than I'm about to do. I have 2 narrators, a guy and a girl, and they're fantastic. So Collision Force is about Cole and Andy, and I'm just going to dive right in with chapter 1. And I'm reading from my phone, so I apologize for looking down, but that's where I'm getting the words at. Okay, chapter 1. Cole cursed. He stared in the rearview mirror at the busy parking lot, but saw nothing. He'd been so close this time. The damn local police were breathing down his neck, and that was the last thing he needed or wanted. Cooperation, my ass. They needed to get the hell out of his case. He'd been too involved for too long, and he wasn't about to let some podunk police chief tell him what to do. Not to mention that whole dumbass detective who'd gotten himself shot. Cole didn't need the locals piecing it together. He had to wrap up a few things before letting them in on his case. Full disclosure wasn't on his list at all. That bastard Maldonado had slipped away. Even 2 months later, that's still chapped. He'd tracked him here and been in town for a few weeks with no clues, until the shooting. 2 goons dead and a police detective shot twice. Maldonado had shrunk back into the shadows. Cole's gut told him he was a coward, or Cole's gut told him the coward was still in town. He hadn't or couldn't move on. But where the hell was he? His cell phone rang, yanking him from his thoughts. Lucas, where the hell are you? Olivia Barnes, his supervisor, barked. Chief Martin called screaming at me. He said you told him to kiss your ass? What the hell, Lucas? I told you to cooperate with them. Cole snorted. Chief Martin had misquoted him, but not by much. I don't need them, Olivia. Oh, don't Olivia me. This was an order from higher up. Get that through your thick skull, damn it. Get to the station and make nice, now. He sighed. His boss didn't respond. Although her tone had brooked no argument, he'd been tempted to tell her to kiss his ass, too. Cole's record was already tainted, and it wouldn't have been the first time he'd told her off. He held his tongue. He was good at his job, and Olivia knew it. Cole would play along, for now. Guess discretion and valor and all that shit. All right, he answered. Olivia went silent on the other end of the phone. Too silent. All right. You've ordered me, correct? He was as dry as he could manage. Cole could almost hear her eyes narrow. Just like that? Just like that. Come on, Liv. I can be a good boy. She harumphed. Okay, go kiss Chief Martin's ass. Can't promise that, but I will go to the station. Good. I can't afford any more damage control, Agent Lucas. Uh-oh, Agent Lucas. Sounds like a warning. It is. Olivia lowered her voice. I don't want to have to yank you off the case, Cole. Like that would happen. I'll call you later. She started to say something, but he ended the call, imagining her outraged expression, one he was quite familiar with. He smirked. Yes, he would play along, for now. The drive to the station was short, but didn't alleviate his irritation with the whole situation. He slammed the car and winced, berating himself. He loved this car. Cole patted the hood in apology, admiring the brand new deep metallic blue Dodge Challenger. It looked mean as hell, like it was made for him. He'd even contemplated keeping it when this was all over. He groaned when he took a look at the smallish Antioch, Texas Police Department, but headed inside. The desk clerk practically growled when he introduced himself, as did Chief Martin over the intercom. Cole ran into the female, literally, right after Sergeant Asshole of the Year had finally acknowledged his existence and buzzed him into the back. And although his head smarted, seeing a beautiful woman was a highlight of his morning. Whoa, sorry, she said, smiling. The chestnut hair was pulled back into a ponytail, and she had eyes so blue they might as well be sapphires. She was tall and slender, and he liked what he saw. She was wearing a white button-down dress shirt and snug khaki pants, and the outfit was somehow incredibly sexy. He almost missed the paddle holster at her waist, but when he saw it, he couldn't help but admire her subtly round hips. Her badge was on a chain around her neck, swaying gently with her movements. A detective. No, I'm sorry. Are you all right? He answered, trying to tear his eyes away. Sure, you? He nodded. Cole bent and helped her retrieve the scattered case file contents. He latched onto a crime scene photo. Not only was she a detective, but she was working on his case. The pictures were all too familiar evidence. No doubt the local case was tied to his. He bit back a cringe and forced himself to speak. I don't think we've met. They both straightened, and she thanked him for his help. He tried not to stare at the items in her arms. Oh, Guess not. Detective Andy McLaren. Nice to meet you. She held out her right hand, and he couldn't help but glance at her left before accepting her shake. No wedding ring. Good. Andy, huh? He met her eyes. Well, it's Andrea, but not even my mother calls me that. She smiled again, a small thing with a shy edge. Instinct told him she was a hardworking, no muss, no fuss kind of girl. Not overly feminine, but extremely appealing. A smattering of freckles spread across her high cheekbones and trailed over her nose. She wore little or no makeup, and that drew him as well. Not his normal type at all, but gorgeous. And you are? She prompted. Cole jolted to attention. He'd been staring. She looked as if she was oblivious. Should that bother him? Yes, women always noticed him. Special Agent Cole Lucas, FBI. Her pretty eyes widened, and then she flashed a grin that could have only been called impish. It rivaled one he was known to give from time to time. You're Agent Lucas? You've had Chief in a tizzy all morning. Was that admiration in her tone? He smiled back. Guilty. Cole winked. Agent Lucas, Chief Martin shouted from the doorway to his office. Cole caught Detective McLaren's eyes and shrugged. Guess I'm being summoned. She chuckled. Hope to catch you later, Andy. He flashed a grin, then trotted toward the angry police chief before she could answer. Andy watched the FBI agent head toward certain doom and shook her head. He exuded cockiness. It took a great deal to rile Chief, but once Paul Martin lost it, look out. The whole force would avoid him for days. She tried not to stare at Special Agent Cole Lucas's fine form as he jogged down the hallway, but found it hard to avert her eyes. God, he's hot. Tight jeans and a black T-shirt that clung to every muscle, and he wasn't lacking. He was tall, probably 3 or 4 inches over 6 feet, and had eyes the color of steel. His hair was coal black and neatly trimmed. She grinned, recalling that his name was Cole. Damn if he didn't have dimples. He destroyed her image of proper suit-wearing FBI agents. Unfortunately, he reeked of bad boy, and he definitely knew how good-looking he was. A man to avoid. Andy didn't consider herself available anyway. Noticing him just meant she wasn't dead, right? With a glance down at the fat case file, a sigh floated out. She'd have to make sure it was all back in order. Better get a move on. She headed to her desk, had a few calls to make, and she was planning on stopping by the hospital to see Pete. Her partner had been shot a few weeks ago, but was recovering well and itching to go home. They had no clue as to who'd shot him yet. Andy was determined to catch the bastards. Working the case alone had been a challenge, but she was up to it. Pete would never blame her for the lack of progress, but she did. She couldn't wait until he was back at her side. She missed him. She scanned his 2 empty desks and then her own. A picture of Ian and a tiny newborn Ethan caught her eye, and she smiled, her heart thumping. She still ached for her husband, who died in the line of duty 3 years before. Andy loved him and always would. Their son, Ethan, had only been 6 weeks old. Now 3, he got her through each day. The case file at her called her attention, and she scowled. She opened it, biting back another sigh. After signing into her computer, she opened her confidential informant database and scrolled down, scrunching her nose even though she found the phone number she wanted. Calling CIs was her least favorite thing. Pete usually handled it. About 5 minutes later, Andy hung up, frustrated because she'd gotten nowhere with a lousy informant. She jumped when it rang again and then groaned when the caller ID flashed Chief's direct extension. She, like everyone else, was on avoidance mode with him. What's up, Chief? She asked, intentionally light. My office, McLaren, Chief Martin barked. Andy winced. What the hell? She'd done nothing to incur his wrath. Coming, she cringed as she heard the click. She slipped into her boss's office, smiling at his administrative assistant, Nikki. Her desk was right inside the door of the smaller room of the chief's large 2-room executive space. You can go right in, but beware, the redhead said in a conspiratorial tone. I know it. She shook her head and drew her fingers across her throat, sticking her tongue out. Nikki grinned and her brown eyes danced. She'd liked her since she'd been hired about a year ago. She was young and open, but skilled at keeping Chief Martin in line. And everyone admired her ability to do so. Evidently, the buck stopped at far too handsome for their own good FBI agents. Swallowing hard, Andy headed into the chief's office. A scowl marred Agent Lucas's handsome face. What the heck? Their initial meeting had been light and friendly. What had she done to warrant that particular expression? She looked away, meeting Chief's hazel eyes. His mustache twitched, and he ran a hand through his graying brown hair, motioning for her to sit with the other. Andy slid onto the chair next to the FBI agent. McLaren, this is Special Agent Cole Lucas. We've already met. And Agent Lucas cut in, earning a glare from the chief. She glanced between him and her boss, nodding. It just so happens that your case may coincide with his, Martin continued. The FBI agent made a low growling sound, and Andy ignored him as she met her boss's eyes for the second time. The guy who shot Pete? Tip of the iceberg, Agent Lucas muttered. Chief scowled. I want you to work with Agent Lucas. The agent leaned forward, his fist clenched. I work alone. Okay, I'm going to stop there because that's about 10 minutes, and I'm not done yet. But that's part of Chapter 1. Hope you guys liked it.
We're back.
Hi.
So good.
Thank you.
So good.
Do readers have any questions? I know you got a bunch of. Dylan, are you there?
Yes.
Yes, I see her.
You see her? Can you hear her?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Can you not hear me?
This
Why
is weird because I can't see her or hear her.
Oh.
do we keep having issues
All
with
right.
this?
I'll let Dylan take the lead.
I don't know. Can anyone else see me or hear me besides Chrissy?
Is she saying anything?
Yeah, she
If you
said, can anyone else see me or hear me besides Chrissy?
I'm just so crazy. So Catherine wants to hear more. She loves her.
Yay.
All right, I'm gonna check and see what it looks like on Facebook because this is making me mad.
Okay. Because I can see Dylan and Dawn and hear them both.
Oh, that is so annoying.
Okay, Linda can hear you and see you.
Okay.
Can you
Yeah,
hear
we're
me
gonna
and
have
see
to
me
go.
too? Is she
All right,
popping
I'm gonna
herself
pop
out
Dawn.
and in? That's so
No, I'm gonna
weird.
pop her out. I'm popping Dawn out.
We have such
Okay.
a
There we go. Okay, let me bring her back. I don't know. I think we need to find a new.
okay. So
system.
I can still see and hear me, but
I
not
can
Dylan.
see and hear you.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, it's weird. I'll just
Catherine said she can see and hear all of us, but now she can hear you better than before, Dylan.
Okay.
so Dylan, I'll just let you take the lead and I'll just sit here and nod.
Yes.
Okay.
Tell Dawn to be quiet. I got it.
Oh. Keep talking, Dylan, because now you sound muffled to me.
I do?
No, now that's better, but much better.
Okay. All right. I'm moving forward.
Yay for technology.
Am I good?
Yes. I got
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Now,
I'm gonna go ahead.
if she
and-
starts talking smack about me, you gotta let me know.
She's not talking smack about you.
Okay.
F up so I can talk. I'm in charge here. All right.
Now she is, I can tell.
I'm gonna pop on and you, Chrissy, out, and I'll do my reading, and then maybe when we all come back in, we'll all be able to hear each other.
Okay, Dawn, can you hear her? Because she's going to pop us out and she's going to read.
Okay. But no, I can't hear.
It's like
Okay.
being in stereo. Oh my gosh. Okay. So if something goes wrong though, and I end up not being visible, somebody let me know. Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. Yeah, I don't know what's going on tonight. It seems like technology is constantly getting the better of us. All right. Hopefully somebody can see me and hear me. I'm going to read from Mud Pies and Family Ties. And I don't have a hard copy of it yet, so it's on my iPad here. So now I'm worried nobody can see me. Can you see me? All right, I don't know what's going on. All right, here we go. I'm gonna read. Let's see, where are we? This is not the very beginning. This is like into the this is the second chapter, and it's where they Harmony is working at the Lovebird Cafe. She is a waitress. So, and this is in her POV. So the bell over the door jangled, pulling my attention from the steaming source of caffeine. A guy paused in the entryway of the small diner. Couldn't he tell we had a seat yourself policy? I grabbed the carafe and a clean mug before pushing through the swinging half door into the main room. You can sit anywhere. His gaze met mine. green eyes, somewhere between the bright shade of my I don't even know how to say this word, and I put it in my book. Malachite crystals and the dusky green of moldavite seem to evaluate me. Is this okay back here? He pointed to a booth in the corner, the same booth I usually hid in when it was time for my break. Yeah, that's fine. I followed him, taking in the breadth of his shoulders and the twisted black ink covering his forearms. Want coffee? Please. I set the cup on the table and poured. If I'd learned nothing else during my brief time waiting tables at the Lovebird, it was that everyone wanted coffee and they wanted it as soon as possible. The first time I'd offered a customer a choice of coffee or tea, they'd stared at me like I'd grown another head and asked the question in ancient Greek. Thanks. He picked up the mug and lifted it toward his mouth. My gaze followed. As he swallowed, I gulped in a breath. A chunk of his shoulder-length hair fell forward toward his face. He reached up to tuck it behind his ear. Something about him looked familiar, but I struggled to figure out why. I definitely remember seeing someone like him if he'd come into the diner before. Do you need a menu? I asked. They still make that steak and eggs platter? He rested a muscled arm along the back of the booth. The twisty ink followed a path from his wrist, past his elbow, disappearing into the sleeve of his t-shirt. What? Steak and eggs, a T-bone as big as your face, with fried eggs on top and a huge side of buttered grits. They still have that on the menu? More like a heart attack on a plate. I couldn't get past the way the folks in Swallow Springs love their country cooking. Cassie made it as fresh and healthy as she could, but still, it was a miracle some of the regulars hadn't collapsed of heart failure decades ago. How about a side of fresh fruit or some wilted spinach to go along with it? If anyone were grading my efforts, I'd get an A+ for trying to introduce some healthier options to the diner crowd. No thanks, just the grease today. He took another sip of coffee while I stood there, totally mesmerized by the way he managed to make taking a sip of coffee look super sexy. Harmony, Mr. Blevins called me from across the room, snapping me out of my trance. Be right there. I whipped the pencil out from behind my ear to jot the order down on my notepad. Anything else? Just keep the coffee coming. He slid his mug toward me, already ready for a refill. I topped it off before retreating toward the safety of the kitchen, stopping to check on my two favorite customers on the way. What can I do for you, Mr. Blevins? I told you, hon, just call me Frank. Lou and I wouldn't mind splitting a piece of that coffee cake you've got in the front case over there. I bit back a grin. I played this game at least twice a week, at least since I'd been in town. You sure one piece will be big enough to share? Oh, I don't know. What do you think, Lou? Frank nudged his friend with his elbow. Maybe we ought to get our own. I set the coffee down on the counter, 2 pieces coming right up. If you insist. Lou leaned across the counter. Who was that you were talking to over there? I looked up, seeking out the stranger in the back booth. I don't know. You think he's from around here? Lou and Frank tilted their heads together, whispering back and forth. Well, I slid a plate in front of each of them, a generous slice of coffee cake on each. Looks to me like the Jarrett boy, Frank said, picking up his fork. Who? I refilled their mugs while sneaking another glance at the man who'd taken over my booth. Dustin Jarrett. Used to live outside of town, Lou mumbled. Left to go make movies in Hollywood. Hollywood? I rose to my tiptoes to get a better look. The guy definitely had the looks for the big screen. Really? Would I have seen him in anything? Frank snickered. You might have seen him on Bobby Bordel's show earlier this week. He was supposed to do a burnout on his bike, but lost control and took out the house band and Bobby. On a bike? I asked. He does stunts, Lou said, motorcycles and such. Haven't seen him around here in years, though. I shot one more glance at the back corner before heading into the kitchen to drop off the order ticket. That's probably why he looked familiar. Liam had posters of motorcycles hanging on his walls and was always watching stunt videos. I'd have to ask him if he knew of someone with the last name Jarrett. While I waited for Cassie's new hire, Ryder, to fry the steak and eggs, I sized up the giant commercial coffee machine. Cassie had shown me a half dozen times how to brew a fresh pot, but it still hadn't clicked. I took a new filter out of the cabinet and reached for the handle of the basket. As I pulled it toward me, lost my place. As I pulled it toward me, brown liquid flowed out of the machine, leaking onto the counter and dripping onto the floor. Oh no! I tried to shove the basket into the slot, but it wouldn't go back. What are you doing over there, Ryder asked. Nothing, everything's fine. I tried to fill my voice with confidence, a difficult task as steaming hot coffee raced toward my hand. With a final push, the basket clicked into place. I'd forgotten to check which side was still brewing. Now I had coffee on the floor, the counter, and down the front of my apron. Order up. Ryder tapped on the bell. I dabbed at the coffee trailing down my front with a paper towel. Got it. I nabbed the plate from under the warming station and snagged the half-full pot of coffee off the burner. As I approached the table, the man unrolled his silverware and slid the paper napkin onto his lap. Somehow that tiny gesture instilled a new measure of confidence in my serving ability. Here you go, steak and eggs, and I brought you more coffee too. I set the plate on the table in front of him before leaning over to fill his mug. Did you have an accident in the kitchen? What? I stood abruptly, causing the stream of coffee to flow away from the cup, slosh onto the table, and dribble into his lap. Sweet mother of... His knees bucked up. The platter of steak and eggs flew into the air before it clattered back onto the table. Ah, shit. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. As I slammed the pot down on the table, the carafe cracked. Coffee went everywhere. I grabbed a stack of napkins and swabbed at the spill, wiping up the traces of coffee from the edge of the table, then dabbing at the growing wet spot on his thigh. I've got it. His hand closed around mine, making me realize I'd just been rubbing my hand over a stranger's groin. Heat flooded my system. Flames of embarrassment scorched my cheeks as I wrenched my hand away from his. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. How about some more napkins? He asked. Absolutely, right away. I fled to the kitchen where I pulled an entire sleeve of paper towels from the storage cabinet. By the time I returned to his table, he'd sopped up as much of the coffee mess as he could. I handed him a stack of paper towels and gathered the dripping mess in my hands. His pulse ticked along a vein on his neck. Based on the way his jaw set, clenched and tense, I figured it would be best to leave the man to eat in peace. He held his hand out, flexing his fingers. A patch of angry red skin covered the area between his thumb and pointer finger. You've got a burn. I held the soggy towels against my apron. Let me grab something. I'll be right back. It's fine, he called after me, but I'd already raced across the room and pushed through the doors into the kitchen. I tossed the towels in the trash. My purse was in the office. I always carried a small kit of my oils with me, just in case something like this happened. Armed with my makeshift homeopathic medical kit, I hustled back to the table. Here, let me put a little lavender oil on it. Before he could argue with me, I'd uncapped the small bottle and cradled his hand in mine, letting a few precious drops drip onto his hand. What the hell is that for? His brows knit together, drawing my attention to the furrow creasing his forehead. Once upon a time, I might have smoothed the lines away. I couldn't stand to see anyone suffer, no matter how small and insignificant their pain might be. But time and life experience had taught me that not everyone was a willing recipient of my concern. This man looked like he'd experienced his own lessons in the school of hard knocks and wouldn't be so open to my healing touch. Lavender oil should help it heal faster. He gently pulled his hand away. It's just a little burn. Let me know if I can get you anything else. Poised to retreat, I snagged the broken carafe of coffee. I think you've done enough. He nodded toward his mug. Although if you managed to figure out how to work that machine, maybe you could bring me a refill without a bunch of grounds in it. A wave of panic rolled up from my gut through my chest as I noticed the clumps of dark coffee grounds amid the mess of broken glass and towels. I'm sorry, I'll bring a fresh pot right away. That would be great, thanks. I waited, not sure if he'd say anything else. When he picked up his knife and fork, I considered it a dismissal and retreated to the safety of the kitchen. Why had I thought this would be a good idea? I'd never waited tables in my life. But things had changed. The life I'd known before had taken a turn, and if I needed to learn how to be the best damn waitress in the world in order to create a safe place for me and my son, I'd figure out a way to do it. As I dumped the goopy mix of towels, glass, and grounds into the trash, I reconsidered my goals. Maybe becoming the best waitress in the world was too lofty of an aspiration. At the moment, I'd settle for becoming the best waitress in the tiny town of Swallow Springs, Missouri. Competition was next to none. I should be able to at least handle that, or die of embarrassment trying. Fortified with resolve, I turned my attention to the huge coffee maker. Let's do this, you shrew. So I'm going to stop there. And looks like Dawn is back. Hi, Dawn. Can you hear me?
Now? Yes,
Yay.
I can hear you. I caught
All
like the
right.
very end, and now I'm like,
I really, really love that, Dylan. That was awesome.
Oh,
Except
thanks.
I'm really sad that coffee got spilled because coffee's like my favorite thing ever.
There's no wasting coffee normally in any of my books. Beverages are kind of sacred, but you know, you can do a lot with kind of trying to sop up spilled coffee from a stranger's crotch.
No, that was freaking hilarious. I laughed out loud. I was like, wow, this is awesome. Could you get more awkward?
Oh, well, if there's one thing I know a lot about, it's being awkward. So that's right at my alley. So I don't know if anybody has questions for me or Chrissy.
And I don't want to do this to you, Dylan, but I can't see the comments. I can't see the questions or the comments.
I can see the comments.
I don't
All
know.
right, I will look. All right. I don't see any questions.
I owe you, though.
I see no questions from anyone.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, questions.
Oh, except Karen. Karen wants to know if if Emma or your son will try the Coke orange vanilla for her, Dawn.
Yeah.
She's curious about it, but she's not brave enough to try.
I think my son would go for that. To be honest, I think he
Sounds
would.
good.
Yeah. They'd probably be like, yeah, vanilla, orange, Coke, yeah.
All right, Karen does have a question. Thank you, Karen, for saving us. You're good for more than just issuing weird food challenges. Karen wants to know, how long are your breaks between writing books? And I'm going to let you take that one, Chrissy.
Karen, do you mean when they come out, like between releases, or like actual writing?
I think she probably means writing, but I'm just guessing.
I always am writing something, so I don't usually take a break. I will type the end on one, and then usually I'm already working on another one because I do more than one project at a time. Or if I take any break at all, maybe a day or two, because the problem is it's like a muscle. So if you stop writing, it's hard to get back into your routine. And I need routine and structure in my life.
Yeah.
So I like the weird food challenges, Karen. That's awesome. So yeah, I'm always writing something. So really, I don't really take a break.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Dylan?
I don't take planned breaks, but there's just a lot of life happening around here.
Yeah.
So I think I don't necessarily take planned breaks, and I think too, now I've got some traditional contracts coming up that have me on a timeline that I need to commit to, and I've got some editing contracts and stuff, or I guess editors reserved for stuff, and so there's not really such thing as breaks in between right now.
Yeah. It's just life interfering is the break, really, honestly.
Yeah. I've so far for this trilogy, I've had like a week between books. I'm going on a week and a half now, and I'm getting cranky. I think that's why I got all the knots in my back. Because when I don't write, like writing to me is therapy. So when I don't write, I get really tense and like
me too,
super cranky. So I think I need to get back to writing, but I need to edit this first. So my editor can have it. She's getting grabby for my new.
Well, see, that makes me feel really good that you said that, Dawn, because I also get super cranky when I'm not writing, and I like to know that I'm normal. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's not hangry. We need to come up with a word for it, because hangry means you're hungry when you're angry. So I need some kind of hangry-like word for not writing.
No.
We could issue a challenge. We'll see if anybody can come up with something.
Yeah.
And then Linda wants to know, okay, now we have a couple questions. So
we do. We have lots of questions. They're fun.
So shoot, Linda, you had one. Okay, Linda wants to know how long you've been writing.
My whole life. I've been published since 2013, but I wrote my first book at 14, and it will never ever see the light of day, ever in life.
What was it about?
I guess I've been destined to write romance. It was a teenage love story about a little girl named Missy. I can't believe I remember this. And she finds a dragon egg in the woods and hatches it.
Oh my gosh. I think it's like, because I wrote like a warrior princess kind of thing as like a teenager, or like a 12-year-old or 12 or something like that. So maybe that's like a teenage thing. Is like a warrior princess, like dragons and.
Well, she wasn't a warrior princess, but she had a horse, because I've always wanted horses. And the little boy in the story, his name was Joey, and I do remember writing the first kiss. So I guess I have been destined to write romance. I never finished that story, but I wrote one when I was 15. That one was about vampires, because I was reading Interview with Vampire at the time, way before I should have been. And then I wrote one when I was 17, and I actually finished that one, and it's a teenage pregnancy story, and I would like to do something with that one day, but the challenge is leaving the voice genuinely 17 and then putting actual craft into it, because let's face it, I did not know what I was doing. So I have it. I do have it. I'd like to fix it one day. I just don't know. I don't know. And I don't write in first person. It's first person, of course. So that's a challenge.
Yeah.
So Linda's asked where I live. I live in North Texas. So
She lives by my sister, Linda.
same city as Dylan's sister, which is so weird.
It is so weird.
Small world stuff.
And Karen wants to know, how many books do you write in a given year?
So far, every year has been different. I've had a year where I wrote 8. And then 2018 was really hard for me. Life happened. It was awful. And I had 6 releases, but they were all previously written things. This year, I'm only on, embarrassingly, I'm only on 1. I haven't finished anything this year, and we're already on May. Oh, it's like, ugh. But so the only one that I've worked on 2 this year, and I haven't finished either one, but I'm closer on the romantic suspense that I talked about. And I'm weird, so I do covers beforehand. So I have like 7 or 8 covers for books I haven't written yet. I really need to get on that. Oh, cool. Karen's going to be in Dallas in August. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
It's a horrible time of year to go visit Dallas, Karen.
You know it's going to be disgustingly hot, right? It's going to be 100.
Yeah. Well, you gotta expect that in Texas anyways. It can get disgustingly hot in the wintertime.
And then we also have a question. What is a genre you would like to try but are afraid to try?
Well, I kind of write everything. I have books written and books started. I'm really bad about starting a book that I haven't, in genres I don't have out. Like I said, I only have 3 genres out right now. Fantasy, historical fantasy, epic. I guess it's 2. Historical and epic fantasy, and then romantic suspense. But I actually have a Angels and Demons book in my head, which is paranormal. And I have I know I'm way behind the curve, but I have a wolf shifter story that's 23,000 words. And eventually one day I'll finish it. I don't really write to market. I write what I feel like writing. So I will release it. The teenage pregnancy story is YA. I don't know that I would have any other YAs in me other than that one that I wrote when I was a kid. And then I have a body jumper, like a soul jumper story that would probably be new adult. So I can't pick a lane and stick to it. I have to write what I feel because it's what's up here. And like when I finish a romantic suspense, I generally can't write another romantic suspense. I need a palate cleanser and I have to change genres. So that's how I started writing Highlanders, believe it or not. Something I would love to write that I don't think I have in me is straight Regency or straight historical with no fantasy or paranormal elements. I love to read them. I don't know that I could write one with no like magic or elves or fairies, because I do have those in my Highlander books. I have the Fae and I have magic. So it's 17th century Scotland.
How about you, Don? Is there a genre you're afraid to try? You'd love to try, but are afraid?
Afraid erotica. I'm totally afraid.
Yeah.
Oh my
yeah?
gosh. Yeah, I'm afraid of that.
See, I love to write. I love writing sex.
I have written a paranormal. It's still out with a small publishing company. But they keep getting my last name spelled wrong on the covers. I gave up. I mean, it's my last name, It's hard. It's a hard name, but
it's a hard name, but yeah, that's something you want to get right.
Speaking of, how do you say your name, Dawn?
Luedecke.
Oh, okay. So it's not that difficult.
No, and you know what? I don't know if it's up by you or in Dallas or whatever, but there's actually a Luedecke Street or Luedecke Road because the Luedeckes actually migrated to the United States through Galveston.
Wow.
So came in through Texas, and my husband's family is all down there. We never met any, but yeah, they're all down there, and there's Luedeckes everywhere down there.
Linda said you can for sure write erotica.
We'll see. I get too embarrassed. I start writing it, and then my kid will come through the room or knock on the door, and then I just turn red. I'm like, what? I just said a nasty word in my head. What do you want? And so I kind of get a little embarrassed, but
That's the hotel room writing, I guess.
the hotel writing. Yeah.
Where is your hubby tonight? He's usually commenting or
He's on. He's watching, but
talking smack in the comments.
I might talk smack about him now because I just heard the bathtub drain. So I think he was taking a bath and watching this show
at the same time.
You
that's
really fun in the bathtub.
Just don't drop the computer.
I don't know for sure. I just heard the bathtub drain, so could be somebody else. Could be the neighbor. But
in your bathtub?
No, we live in a townhouse. So.
Oh, okay. I was concerned for a moment. I was wondering if your neighbor dropped by.
The neighbor in my bathtub. He comes over all the time.
Does he take bubble baths or?
He's a massive weightlifter. He's a big weightlifter. So he takes like sea salt, the muscle relaxing salt bath. So it's mostly
sure he does
muscle relaxing, but I think I do have some bubbles in there. So I don't know. He won't let me in the bathroom when he takes the bath.
He's gonna kill you.
He's so gonna kill me. Yeah, I'm dead.
Yeah, you're dead. You're dead.
Yeah, for real.
Oh, that's funny.
Goodness gracious.
I don't know what to say after that. Are there any more questions?
Fun start for a new book idea. A man in the bathtub.
That's right.
I could see that opening up. A man's in a bubble bath.
That is too funny. And Linda says she loves my naughty scenes. Thank you, Linda.
Yeah, she does do good naughty scenes, doesn't she?
Naughty scenes are my favorite.
Dylan's bathtub scene. I mean, hello. We've already.
There were some. I've got some bathtub scenes, but I mean, it's not like Robbie went and took a bubble bath with scented bath salt on his own.
And they're not scented. They're like sea salt.
Oh, God, I can see it now. I can see
oh my gosh,
you're alpha male with scented bath salts, lavender or lilac.
You guys, well, I think that Dylann actually.
What's that?
I think that you were actually out to get me killed tonight.
No, you started it. You said your husband was taking a bath, watching our show in the bathtub. You said it, not me. I'm just taking advantage of
author killed by husband.
Taking it further. Oh my gosh, I know there have been. Well, I don't think we should talk about it tonight, but there have been some scary author things in the news.
You got me in trouble. He's down.
You got yourself in trouble.
Now he's mad.
I did. Dylan's just
very good for your skin.
I bet you smell really good right now.
I did. I swear, you guys. You know what, Dylann? I'm gonna kick your ass. Come to RWA so I can kick.
Bring it, girl. Bring it.
I'm not going to RWA this year.
I know I'm not either, so
we're gonna rebel.
I went last year. I'm the president of my chapter this year. Talk about scary. I'm actually in charge of things and people.
I'm sure you do a great job. All right, I kind of feel like we should wrap this up so Dawn can go spend some quality time with her freshly scrubbed hubby.
Well, the freshly scrubbed part's okay. I'm just worried about the rest.
I'm gonna have to do some major,
groveling.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say fucking up, but I don't think we should talk about that either.
Romance.
Okay, so we do have giveaways tonight.
Yay!
And those are listed. Those are on our pinned post. So VA is giving away an audio book. You've got choice of titles, but you've only got codes for certain ones. So whoever wins that will have to get in contact with you, and you can tell them what their choices are. And then you've also got an ebook that you're giving away, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I can tell you what the choices are for the audiobook. I have codes for my epic fantasy series, all 4 of them. The titles are Sword's Call, Love's Call, Rogue's Call, and Fate's Call. Not hard to mess that up. And then I do have titles. The book that I read from, Collision Force, is also I have codes for that one, but that unfortunately is it because ACX no longer gives them out if it's not exclusive to ACX. So it's something that there's no workaround currently, but maybe enough people will be outraged that they'll fix it. I don't know. But and then pretty soon, if you guys like audiobooks, I will be releasing the 4th book in the book I read from. They all have the word collision in the title. And the 4th one will be live soon, but currently the first 3 are available. And I'm telling you, my audio narrators are so awesome, way better than I am. So I have a guy and a girl, and it's duet. It's not dual. So she reads all of the girl parts and he reads all the guy parts, and it's in the same scene. So it's kind of like listening to a play. So you can check out the samples on Audible. They're there. And that way, the chapter that I read from, they do way better than me. Way better.
They get paid more money than we do to read those books out loud.
Yeah, and both of my narrators are actually married to each other in real life. It's funny.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so they don't record at the same time, but they both have acting abilities, and so I really feel like in a narrator that's important to know when to breathe and inflections and all that stuff. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's really weird listening to a sex scene that you wrote in someone else's voice. That was the most awkward thing. I was alone and I was going, oh. But it is a lot of, I'm very, like, authors have different levels of involvement in the process, and I'm a control freak, so I'm very involved. So they finish a chapter, and then they send me the chapters, and I listen to them, and then send them the results.
Nice.
Or like all the errors and stuff. So it is a lot of fun.
I have audios out of All American Cowboy and Cowboy Christmas Jubilee, and those were done through SourceBook, so I didn't have any say in them at all. And and I mean, they're great, but I just went in and tried to listen to them, and I'm like, I can't listen to somebody else read my words. It's
really?
It's too weird.
Yeah. I'm currently 100% indie. I've been with publishers before, and I've left both my publishers at this point in time. I'm not saying I'll never write for another publisher, but at this moment in time, I'm happier as indie. Mm-hmm. And I set deadlines for myself. Sometimes I make them, sometimes I don't. But, working with deadlines is definitely completely different. So.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and I think, so I'm hybrid. I know Dawn has done hybrid, and I think I try to treat my hybrid stuff, my indie stuff, as I would, a book editor, and then you've got the deadline because, it's like, I'm not going to try to move a deadline that I've signed a contract for. And
correct. Yeah.
I look at it that way, but
yeah, that's a great way to look at it. It's
in sometimes.
Yeah, I need to be stricter with myself. I really do. But, writing is kind of like.
What do you have?
Well, I work full time at a shelter for teenagers. I work part time at Curves with Gym for Women. And the only reason I do that 8 hours a week. But the reason I took that job is so I couldn't quit working out. Because I've lost 110 pounds. So I wanted to.
Good for you.
Was that?
I said, good for you.
Oh, thank you. And then I edit for other authors, and I have a very, very healthy clientele. They like me, so they come back. I'm really nitpicky. And then what else? Oh, and then I write. Yes, I write books. That's my I'm like, what else? What did I do? What did I not say? But yeah, I would love to be able to write and edit full time, but right now that's not an option. But maybe in the future, I don't know. Yeah. But I don't think I'll quit working at the gym because it keeps me going there.
Yeah.
So.
One of the things I love about writing, I mean, even if you only have a couple hours a week, it's something you can still do. If you are able to do it full time, it's kind of one of those things that you can put as much as you can into it.
Yeah. It's a challenge. But it really does need to be habit because like anything else, if you stop, it's so hard to get back in. And that's where I'm struggling right now to get to routine. So
I've gone for a while and something's come up and I haven't actually sat down and written for a few days. Like you almost have to start reading from so far back. kind of remember where you were and
right.
kind of
You have to get reacquainted. Sometimes I think it's good to step away if you're having trouble. Like the book I'm writing now, I was having a little bit of trouble with it. But it's good to step away. But now I need to get back in and get reacquainted and finish that puppy.
Yeah.
Well, we better wrap up. I know Catherine is signing off, and I owe somebody a huge apology because as I was scrolling through on my phone the other day, somebody was saying that they were joining us tonight because it was their birthday, and I can't remember who it was, and I'm trying to go back and look, and I can't find it. Was that you, Catherine?
No.
I don't remember now. So whoever's birthday it is tonight, please.
Happy birthday.
Let me know because I feel so stupid. I meant to make a note and I was on my phone and I didn't. And but yeah, it's somebody's birthday tonight.
Well, whoever's birthday it is, once we figure it out, message me and I will give you a book for your birthday.
Oh, that's super sweet.
Hopefully we'll figure it out.
Yep, we will figure it out. All right, we're going to wrap up. I have a giveaway going, choice of signed paperback of the ones that I've got. And then also I have started, thanks to Dawn, who's gotten me into crafting with my vinyl machine. I've made up some Marks Are for Quitters t-shirts. And so I will figure out what size you need in that and we'll get that out. So I've got 2 giveaways going. And then I also did tell our group that if they were watching tonight, that we would do a special giveaway. And I don't know what I'm going to give away yet. I was asking Dawn what she give away, and we're going to give away a mystery prize, I've decided.
Oh.
So whoever wins our mystery prize, it's going to be somebody that was viewing live. We'll draw names from all the people that were viewing live tonight. And then when we send you your mystery prize, then you have to take a picture of it and post it because it's what you got.
Yeah.
So I thought that would be fun. And that
Thanks for having me, ladies.
Of having to commit.
Coming.
So, all right. No, I know it's not you, Karen, because although Karen is pretty darn lucky, I got to say, Karen wins everything. She's won. Every time she posts on Facebook, she's won something else. So, all right.
And
So
before
let's
you sign off real quick, before you sign off, next week or next show, we're having Maxim Martinu and Laurel Kerr.
Yep.
So they're going to be our guests next time.
Yep. And Maxim, I think her first book just came out recently, and Laurel is writing the super cute animals, and she's got some super cute contemporary books that have, I think there's a honey badger in the first one, and it's lots and lots of fun wildlife and like cuteness overload. So
are they chapter books?
No. They're contemporary romance, but they've just got a lot of
animals,
fun animals and stuff like that. So I think it's like Wild in My Mind is one of hers, and I am totally putting myself on the spot. I can't think of the other one right now. So, but she writes really, really cute contemporaries. And Maxim's book has been, recently her debut just came out, and I've seen it everywhere. It looks, it's got one of those like kind of fantastical, magical, really cool covers. So
I like fantastical, magical for sure.
Yeah, look for those, and we will get all that stuff up soon. And thanks for tuning in tonight.
Bye.
And we'll talk to you later. Thanks, Christy, for being with us. We appreciate it.
I had a lot of fun. Thank you, ladies.
All right. Good night.
Good night.